most of us don't look all that metal. And when we were playing live, we would be wearing like glitter all over our faces and bright stuff.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and like Sanjeev would wear like a like a golden like one piece. So, like we dress
Dude,
funny.
that's fucking sick. That's so
Yeah,
sick.
and the thing we liked to happen, quote unquote, was we'd always get booked with like full grindcore bills, like grind core, and sometimes those crowds liked us, sometimes they didn't, but more often than not, when they'd watch us getting set up, like and people seeing us like behind the stage putting glitter all over each other and doing all this stuff, there would be this moment where you could tell the crowd's going, like, I don't know about this. And then as soon as we start playing, people are going, oh, okay.
Welcome to the 160th episode of the Cast That Ends Creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering. This is the show interview bands and public figures from the Mathcore adjacent community. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, do all the things social. Every little bit helps. And join us every Sunday and Wednesday for the live cast where you can interact with the guests in real time or just hang out in the chat. You can also subscribe for $5 to get access to some exclusive emotes as well as access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming platforms. You can also do that for free by attaching Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. It's like taking $5 from Jeff Bezos' pocket and putting it into mine. With that out of the way, let me introduce our guest today who dropped their new album, Derangement Exquisite Tenderness, back in July. Welcome in Dan from Tulip. How's it going?
Hello. Hey, it's going good. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thank you so much for joining us. So tell us who you are, what you do in the band. I guess I already said your name. Your name's Dan, but what do you do in the band?
Yeah, name's Dan. I play guitar and do kind of backup vocals or one of the vocals in the band.
Okay, sick. So did you call yourselves Tulip because your music's as beautiful as a bouquet of flowers, or why did y'all land on that name?
Yeah, so I know that the other guys will give me heck for this, but it's not the flower. It's a reference to a comic book called Preacher. It's the main female character from that comic book.
Oh my god, it is. Holy crap. Yeah, no, I watched that TV show when it was on fucking god, what channel was it? AMC, I think.
FX, what it was. I think.
Or maybe it was AMC. FX.
Might have been, yeah.
One or the other. Yep. But yeah, dude, that show was fucking badass. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't even think
the show's good. The comic series is amazing, and yeah, so that's I named the band originally because Sanjeev and I were the original members, and that's where it came from.
Huh. That's interesting, dude. That's fucking sick. I was not expecting like that to be the backstory for the name. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So how did the band come together?
So yeah, I kind of already said Sanjeev, the keyboardist and main vocalist. We started it way back, like a number of years ago, with a different drummer, and it was just a 3-piece for the longest time. And then the original drummer Chris, he left before we even really recorded anything, and Alec, who was in there all the way till this album, joined on drums. And then it was just at a show when we were still doing the 3-piece thing. We finished a set, and Cole came up while I still had my guitar on. I was like, "Hey, do you guys want a bass player sometime? You should." And eventually, we just were like, "Yeah, come play with us." And then it was just that was it from there.
I love how easy that is. It's like, yeah.
Oh
yeah. So what year did y'all get started?
What year? I think it was probably 2016, when we were starting to write like the first ideas.
Okay. You ended up dropping a single for you and for me in 2018, and your self-titled album in 2019. I gotta ask, what's the deal with the weird sax on the album cover for your self-titled? Well, I remember seeing that and being just completely grossed out. Like, what the fuck am I looking at? Some kind of insect or something? Or?
Yeah. So that stuff. So that's a picture of like a physical thing. Uh-huh. It was made by a woman named Rose, and it's these, I think it's like fishnets filled with like fake hair, some filled with others. It's just like fishnets and like leggings filled with stuff.
Okay.
And then we actually in our merch display we had those sacks like put in there, so the merch display like looks like the old record.
So it looks disgusting, is what you're saying.
It looks gross, yeah. Really gross.
No, I totally thought it was some kind of like weird biological thing, maybe some kind of like eggs or some shit. I don't know. It's fucking weird, man. That's tight though. So you hired an artist named Rose. Is that because you guys are named Tulip, or you just happen to?
No, just circumstance at the time.
But so now you're back with your second and final album, Derangement Exquisite Tenderness. What's different this time around?
Yeah, so a lot of stuff is different. The original album, I mean, this works perfectly with what I said about how we started, but the original album was like Sanjeev and I kind of wrote all those songs, and then Alec put his kind of flavor drum wise over it, and Cole like joined the band the day before recording. So he was just like, write parts that work, boom, done. So it was kind of a semi sloppily put together record, all said and done. And this one we were like obscene perfectionists about. Like it's all started with beat mapping and like one layer at a time, and it took us we had the songs pretty much written by the time that first album was out, and then we were recording like ever since. So it's this huge, long, way more intentional process.
It does sound way better sonically than the last album does. I will say that.
we recorded it better too. The first one we recorded with just like a friend of ours, Elijah, who was just kind of starting recording at the time, and they're great. I mean, they do their thing, but they're not, metal isn't their main game.
Right.
And this time we did it with Adam Tucker at Signature Tone, who, he's done stuff for Thou and all these other bands. So like that's his bread and butter. And we were like, okay, we'll just do that.
Well, shit, he fucking killed it, man. Y'all went with a good one. How would you classify your music?
We say synth grind, but we're barely a grind band, and it's just like the best funny name we could come up with it for it at the time. That's kind of all it is. It's just like I don't know what to call it. It's just fast and synths.
I guess like you could probably get away with calling it cyber grind, but
yeah, it kind of falls in there a little bit. Yeah,
like because you got the synth and stuff, but like I'm not sure if synth is enough of a qualifier for cyber grind or whatever.
Right.
So, I don't know.
The way I've described it is that we just want to be the Locust. I mean,
no, yeah, dude, that's like the main influence I was getting out of it. I even have it in my notes here. So you're like huge fans of the Locust or whatever. But
yeah.
what are some of the other influences going into this?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, we all come from kind of different spots. Like we all love the Locust for sure. The drummer and I are like big Meshuggah freaks. I'm into a lot of stuff like Imperial Triumphant, and then like more odd death metal, and I like Ulcerate and Gorguts and stuff like that. Alec is way more of like a non-metal, like jazz is his, like he's a jazz guy. That's really his thing. And then just like math stuff. Cole's into all sorts of weird. He's a Frank Zappa guy. That's his whole thing. I think he listens to Frank Zappa every day.
That's sick.
Yeah, and Sanjeev likes emo music, so it's all different.
Well, it's really cool that you'll have such like an eclectic mix of like influences and such. Shout out to Brandon Dowdy in chat. Tulip fucking rules, he says. So it's a great album. You're ending the career on a high note, I guess. Yeah. Why are y'all splitting up?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a completely amicable thing. We're all still great friends. Really just comes down to that Sanjeev, who is doing all the synths, all the lead vocals, writes all the lyrics, and is kind of like a major part of the band, kind of irreplaceable. He just started going to med school, which we thought was going to be out of state, but is in state, kind of close by. But the med school thing does not facilitate being in a band. So we all kind of figured, hey, let's part ways for now or whatever. I've been calling it a soft breakup because if it's not going to happen now with the Locust, but we said at the time, if the Locust asked us to go on tour, we do it. But so if it's anything like that, if the right offer came, we'd do it or something like that. But
so, I mean, like a word for that exists. It's a hiatus. So why not just say you're going on hiatus instead? I mean, I went with kind of like a more finalized version, like saying that you're breaking up or whatever.
Yeah, but that's all it really is Sanjeev's doing the med school thing, and we all have other things to focus on. So
okay. Is it, so like there's a chance it's gonna come that you guys are gonna come back together.
There's a chance.
Does Sanjeev plan on? I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, by the way. But does he plan on coming back to like where you guys are at to like set up a practice or whatever after school or?
Maybe, yeah. I have not talked to Sanjeev about their after med school plans, but I think that's just wholly dependent on where they would work as a doctor.
Exactly. Right.
So I mean, if I know Sanjeev has a big love for Minneapolis and where we're all from, and would probably try to come back.
That'd be sick.
Who knows?
All right. But yeah, again, this album's amazing. I keep telling people that this is like in my top records for the year, but this one actually is like it's some really really awesome stuff. I feel like y'all are good at pushing boundaries, but not making it so like outlandish that it's not something people could connect with.
Yeah.
So yeah, like again, this is like the Locust. Like you hit it, right? This is
we still want people to be able to headbang to it. That's the thing. Like there should still be like a riff, you know?
Okay.
That's the thing that would always come up in the writing. Like there still needs like, riffs.
Right. You need
Yeah.
but yeah, you guys got it. That's awesome. There's no lyrics up on Bandcamp, and I can't find them anywhere online. So what are the lyrics about?
The mixture of things. So Sanjeev is the prime lyric writer. So he basically sets the concept for what everything's about pretty much after the fact, like after we've written the main chunks of music. And it'll range from stuff like about like being in a leper camp and dying of leprosy, or weird existential dread stuff. Sanjeev tends to like to write his songs like very specific. Like this is about he's a doctor too, right? So it gets medical. Like this is about some like procedure that's done on someone's brain and every step of the way. So that's usually what it'll end up being. He has an obsession with medical gore too, so he'll probably describe some gross stuff.
So no like metaphors and stuff like that. He's like more of like a
it's pretty straight to the point, but it's all very flowery language, no pun intended. Yeah, it's like big. He loves his big medical book words.
Okay. Got a college boy here then.
Yeah, yep.
So this is tracked, mixed, and mastered by Adam Tucker at Signature Sound Recording. You already talked a little bit about that, but how was your experience with him? Was he one of the more like hands-on kind of people, or was he more just letting y'all do your thing?
Yeah, I mean, so I've recorded like upwards of a dozen records with Tucker.
Oh shit! Okay.
So I've been working with him a long time, and so has Alec. So we have kind of always wanted to work with him on this record. And it obviously was a great experience since we've known him for so long. He feels very comfortable to tell us if something sucks, which is good.
Right. You need someone to do that sometimes.
Yeah. And, he's got a lot of good ideas and is great to work with. For the most part, we didn't really track with him too much. We did drum tracking there, but then I recorded here at home for guitar.
Nice.
Cole recorded at their house. Like we all just kind of did it piecemeal because most of the main tracking was like season 1 of COVID, like full lockdown. We were not hanging out. It was
season 1 of COVID. I like that.
Yeah. So that was when most of the recording was happening, was right then, just at home.
Okay.
But yeah, Tucker's fantastic to work with. He, pretty much right out the gate will give you something that you would feel comfortable releasing. I think we went through like, once we were done with the actual tracking, it was like 3 mixes and done.
Nice. That's what's up, man. Jesus. So did it feel weird recording stuff on your own?
Yeah, it was the first time I'd ever done that. But now I prefer it for sure.
Okay.
I especially as a guitar player in a weird band like that, being able to spend so much time like layering and getting like all these huge guitar big parts and like hiding stuff too, lots of hidden stuff where I'd mark it and be like, this is like how many dB this should be against this, and just so nitpicky. It was fun. That's fun for me.
Okay.
Whereas if I'm doing it live in the studio, I'm like, I'm going to lay down one and then a double, and then I don't want to take up more time.
Right. Well, then you also have people like staring at you or whatever. Like, I guess like waiting for time, but also just like, nitpicking every little like thing that you do or whatever.
Exactly. So yeah, we had a lot, and that's the same for Cole. I know with bass tracking, they felt the same way. They were able to just like piecemeal stuff really nice and really dial in the effects, because we both have like big pedal boards that we do dumb stuff with.
So how long did it take from starting recording to finishing the album?
I think it was end all be all 3 years from.
God damn, from like
Yeah.
starting recording?
Yeah, because I mean the first step of recording was just making a MIDI drum of the entire album.
Mhm.
And then I recorded guitar over that. Then we recorded drums over that. Then basses over that. And then synth took like a full year and a half.
God
And
damn.
there was like, COVID was happening right then.
Right.
There was like, we were taking a long time for sure. Cause we were like, but all of us trying to find new jobs and all of us not sure what the future looks like, So there was some weird stuff.
So it wasn't like
break.
3 years like recording every day or every other day. It was like,
no, absolutely not.
Breaks or whatever. Gotcha.
Yep.
Because when you say 3 years to record, it's like, holy shit, that's a long time.
Oh yeah, no, we were being slow about it. There's all sorts of uncertainty in the air, but
gotcha.
We got it there.
So we got your artwork up on screen. And it's done by Raz Zalhagu.
I think so. We've actually never spoken to each other, so
Okay.
I've never heard them pronounce their name. So
okay, well let's go with Raz then.
Yes.
So what is the image exactly supposed to represent?
So we found her from just browsing like glitch artists, which is like an art form we're all into. We all like that look. We didn't give them much direction. We like sent them an early version of the record, and we were like, we like stuff that does not look typically metal, like no skulls, no blood, no none of that stuff for sure. And we just wanted something kind of light and airy, and that was what they came up with. And they sent us 4 pieces all together that are all like, if you get the CD, it's all in there. They're like, there's a back art on the CD, all this other stuff that all kind of matches. Like one piece is like a zoomed in thing on their hands. One's like a male figure to kind of give the opposite and stuff like that. So it's really not based on anything other than like, hey, here's the record. Don't do metal stuff. Make it look nice.
It really reminds me. I'm trying to look up the fucking record now because I can't remember the name of it, but it's like Awake the Dreamless or something like that. God, I can't remember the name of it now, but it's like a picture of like a sky, and it's a big grindcore band. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, there's Discordant Access.
That's it, Discordant Access. Yes.
Is it that one?
Yeah. That album. I mean, the big album from them. That's the one that this really reminds me of when I first saw it. That's what I was thinking of. Is that what y'all were trying to like get close to, or?
It didn't come up, but I thought that when we got the final version too, because I'm a big fan of that band. So I was like, oh, cool. It looks like Discordant Access. I'm down. Like,
no, it looks tight. I really like the way, and I feel like it fits your music pretty well. We have a music video, an animated music video. Oh, that's really loud. 1 sec. There we go. Okay. So yeah, video for Creature Not a Bug, which I love that title so much. That's so good. I'm a big fan of puns if you aren't familiar. But, so who did this video for y'all?
Yeah, the production company is called, it's one guy, but it's called Noxbite GFX. It's a dude named Mahdi. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, but he's like I think he's from Lithuania, out of country for sure. But yeah, we found a bunch of his work from some like, European death metal bands that we're kind of into. And I guess going backwards, we had the idea for this video since, I don't know, 2018. Like we knew, like we had this image in all of our heads, like what we wanted. And we always wanted it to be Cool 3D World. If you're familiar with Cool 3D World.
No, I'm not.
He does like stuff on Adult Swim and shorts like that. It's very similar to this, like 3D animated, weird. He never got back to us. We went through some other people, and we had this guy in the back of our heads kind of the whole time. But all of the other material that we could find of his was for these death metal bands that was very like on the nose, like blood, gore, like death metal stuff, which we're like not into for what we were doing. But eventually we're just like came to the obvious conclusion of like, we just got to tell him we don't want that and he'll make something awesome. So we hit him up, and I'm actually like more happy with what came out of going with this guy than what would have came out of Cool 3D World, because I can like picture that. I know what it would look like. But yeah, as simple as that. We just hit him up. We're like, here's this idea. Can you do it? And he was like, yeah, it'll just take me like 5 months. So we're like, okay.
Well, it came out really well.
Yep.
Like it looks so realistic, man. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, it was really fun. Like, I mean, I talked to him the first time we did like a little Zoom meeting, and when I was telling him the idea, like there was a big language barrier. Like he had to keep telling me to slow down because he like barely spoke English, and I was like, oh, okay, so like this I wonder how this is going to like translate and work out. And then like 2 months later, he sent me the first images of like the science guy, and he's like, here's what I've been like rendering for the main character, and I was like, you can do just whatever you want. Like, I trust you. Like, as soon as he sent me that, I was like, this is perfect.
So, what is the story exactly in the video?
Yeah, so I mean, it came from like, like we were on tour. It was a night of partying. We were joking around. So it's like a dumb idea. But it was like, what if the Large Hadron Collider was, instead of particles, it was babies? And then we were like, what if the babies opened a portal to hell? And we just couldn't stop riffing on it for a tour. And we're like, that would be a great music video, man. Like the babies. That's it, though. It's just like a babies opening the portal to hell, Large Hadron Collider. That's it.
Okay. And then at the end of it, it's like the doctor in the Hadron Collider, I guess?
That was Mahdi. He was like, I'm going to add we never even had a central character in mind. And that was his whole thing. He's like, this needs a central character. It needs to have something to follow. And he put in the science guy. And then he came to me. He's like, what if at the end, like the science guy is in the Large Hadron Collider? And I was like, cool. Like, I love it.
Yeah, whatever, man. As long as it's weird.
Yeah, as long as it's weird, like we're down.
Well, he did some great fucking work.
Yeah, I highly suggest him, honestly. Like, super easy to work with. Like, everything was quick and easy, like constant updates. So like, for you or like any musician listening with that kind of stuff, that can be a huge pain in the neck when you're getting album assets made. Right. And this guy was like a breeze to work with. Like, I'd never had any worries. So Noxbit, GFX, go to him.
How do you spell it real quick?
It's NOXBITE GFX.
You guys are breaking up, but some of y'all are involved in other projects and stuff.
Yep.
You want to go ahead and shout out what other bands are going on?
Yeah, definitely. So I do vocals in like a hardcore metalcore band called Wanderer. I also play guitar in a sludge band called Northless, and we're all still playing shows. Wanderer just recorded an EP that we'll hopefully be putting out soon. Ooh. And Northless, we just dropped a record called A Path Beyond Grief, and that's on Translation Lost Records. That just came out like a week or so ago.
Nice.
And then Alec and Cole together are doing another band called Mal. That's MAL. And Alec is playing guitar in that band instead of drums. And he's if you've listened to our record, he's an obscene drummer, and he is also just as good at guitar, which I hate. He's worlds better than I am, or most people I know. It's ridiculous that he gets to be that good at both things. But that's like more math rock kind of stuff with saxophone and really, yeah, way out there. It's really fun. And that's all they're doing. Alec also plays guitar in a band called Services. That's kind of just like pop rock stuff.
Okay.
And then, yeah, Sanjeev's not doing any other music right now because of doctor stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome, man. We'll have to keep up with all your stuff. We'll have to get like Wanderer on for to talk about the EP and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So, there's no like final tour or anything happening? You already did the final shows? Y'all already broken up?
Yeah, we did. I mean, Sanjeev's med school stuff came up sooner than we thought. So he was in med school by the time we did the last show. So he had to like drive down and sleep at my house and like play show and leave. Because he's like, I'm already in it. So that's kind of that on that. But there's been chit chats here and there of like, hey, come down. We'll like do a one-off, or we'll do a little weekend. So there's talks here and there.
Okay. So, you guys have played a lot of shows. What's the best show you guys have played?
Best show that's a toss-up. I'd say one of our favorites was this show we played in, oh my gosh, Detroit. It was the Trumbleplex. I don't know if you're familiar.
Never heard of that, but it sounds awesome.
It is very awesome. It's one of the longest running like DIY punk venues like currently in existence. Okay. And it's this just, it's like a blown out warehousey space. and just awesome, like super fun bands and just a great, like one of those just like super simple is a great crowd. And what the thing happened at that show that like is our favorite thing, and it happened in the greatest way. That being that like most of us don't look all that metal, and when we were playing live, we would be wearing like glitter all over our faces and bright stuff.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and like Sanjeev would wear like a like a golden like one piece. So like we would dress
Dude, that's
funny.
fucking sick. That's so
Yeah,
sick.
and the thing we liked to happen, quote unquote, was we'd always get booked with like full grindcore bills, like grindcore, and sometimes those crowds liked us, sometimes they didn't, but more often than not, when they'd watch us getting set up, like and people seeing us like behind the stage putting glitter all over each other and doing all this stuff, there would be this moment where you could tell the crowd's going, like, I don't know about this. And then as soon as we start playing, people are going, oh, okay. And that happened at that show like so beautifully. Like as we were playing, multiple heckles happen, or as we're setting up about to play, couple heckles like, whoa, what's this? As soon as we play, just full mosh going on. And I was like, okay, that's great. The best version of my favorite thing.
Well, also your name's Tulip, so dude, that
Yeah, right.
fits that so well. That's hilarious. Makes me even more depressed that we were never able to get a show together or whatever. Maybe on one of those days off. But so
Yeah.
you guys always have glitter on, or like how did that start in the band?
For the most part, yeah, especially before COVID when we were touring like a lot. It started as a tour thing. We just like were doing it every night on tour because it was fun, and then it just became a thing. And for the most part, it wasn't like costumes. Like Cole and I would just wear our normal clothes, and then just like bunch of glitter and all sorts of other stuff like on our face. And Sanjeev would like wear all sorts of funny outfits because he was the front man, And he like last show he went full Black Parade, like My Chemical Romance, like one of those black like marching band jackets.
Oh shit! Okay,
Yeah.
dude, that's crazy, man. So doesn't the glitter just get everywhere though? I could imagine
Yeah.
it's like tour van. It'd be just like,
Oh, it's everywhere. You just like
everywhere.
we were fully acceptant that like you have glitter all over your stuff, and you will for a while after that tour. And that's the way it goes.
Uh, so what's the worst show you guys have played?
Worst show, worst one's tough. This one's I'd say worst, but is like funny to me. We were playing in Cleveland at Now That's Class, which is like a pretty popular touring spot, but it was off night. I think we were playing on a Monday or Tuesday on that run, so nobody. I think there was like two people there, which is fine, whatever. I'm not complaining about that. The part that made it the worst was there was this opening like band person. I'm not going to name any names for the sake of the story, but it was this like performance that involved a lot of odd statements and things. So we were getting kind of creeped out by this performance, which was odd for us even. And we're like, man, this guy's creepy. Like this is off. Like just getting that whole feeling of like, oh man, when's this guy going to say something like really bad? Like you're just waiting for it. Never really happened, but there's this weird air. After the show, that was where we had to stay. It was this dude's house because there was nowhere else for us to stay. And there was this moment of us just doing after show, like we're close friends. We have a way of communicating. We ended up creeping him out. Like he was like, oh, okay. Like you guys are weird. I got to go to bed. And we're like, oh my God, like we creeped him out. Like this is a fun turnaround.
Erratic Drone in chat says that they were at that show. I think it's the best one.
Who knows? They might have been at the worst one.
But yeah, so you got CDs, shirts up on your Bandcamp. Oh, they said that they are your cousin, actually.
Yep, they were at the worst one then.
But yeah, you have CDs and shirts up on your Bandcamp. Any chance of getting vinyl?
Not at the moment. No, there's no offers for it. And if anyone were gonna spend the money on doing it out of pocket, it would be me, and it's not really possible at the moment. I do want to, like, I think I have my own plans if nothing happens to do a short run of like 10 inches of the new record at some point. But
Oh.
I did in my own life just buy a house, and I'm getting married as well. So like all my money is tied up. So
Gotcha. I
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay. So go ahead and wrap this up with the album of the year.
Yeah, album of the year. I'd say it's between two. It's the new Imperial Triumphant, or the Mizmor Thou collab album. I really liked both of those.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not grindcore bands. Like I was
No.
kind of figuring we were gonna get some grindcore bands.
No, I mean, it's always changing what I'm listening to. So those just have been like on very constant repeat for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything you want to say before we get on out of here?
No. Well, the only thing I will shop in here is on our Bandcamp. We still have a lot of these shirts here where every single one is different. We still have so many. Buy
They're
them out.
different?
Yeah. Since the way it's printed is on this like color scale thing,
Okay.
the way the colors shift are different on every single one. So it's like a random, like whatever, when you buy one, I just send it to you and they're all like, maybe the pink will only be this much and it'll get blue sooner, or you know what I mean?
What? That's so weird. Like, what kind of printing process is that?
No idea, but they said it was made it really cheap to make these. So,
huh. Interesting.
But they're well printed. It was just like, since they didn't have to like reset this weird color hue, they just keep doing it. And every time it'd be different. It like cost way less.
That's crazy, dude. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Only in the Morning 42 says, "Yo, sup? I love the new Tulip album. You sick fucks."
Hey, yay.
But yeah, anything else you wanted to say, or?
No, I mean, that's all. Like, check out the new Northless album that's on Translation Lost. Check out Mal, that's kind of what we're doing now.
Yeah. Check out Wanderer.
Check out Wanderer as well. Yeah, we'll be probably announcing some new stuff soon. We got some shows coming up, and we're going to be playing in Iowa with Ken Mode next month. So that'll be a fun one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Isn't Frail Body going along with him too?
Yeah, they'll be at that show. And those are actually
that's crazy.
Those are really good friends of ours. Yeah. Like nice. We're really tight we were just on the road with them and it was super fun.
Dude, I got to see him at Mathcore Index Fest and like it was fucking insane, dude.
Did you see Sunless as well? Those are good friends of mine. Well.
I had to miss them, but yeah, I got in there just in time for Frail Body and that was fucking crazy. But anyway, if you're looking for some nasty, sludgy math grind, you got to check out Derangement, Exquisite Tenderness, the new album from Tulip, which dropped back in July. You're on Facebook, Bandcamp, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and all streaming platforms. Is there any other kind of like social media stuff, or like do you have a website you want to direct people to?
No website. Check out the video on YouTube. That's the big one, but that's all of them.
Alrighty. As for me, drop my channel, follow so you always know when I go live. You can also sub to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and streaming platforms, as well as get some exclusive emotes. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. YouTube folks, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, tickle the notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe. It's a great way to support me for free. Check out my music, The Sound That Ends Creation, at soundthatendskreation.bandcamp.com. My next guest is Austin-based mathcore act The Bearer, who dropped their new album Chained to a Tree back in July through Silent Pendulum Records. Join us this Wednesday the 17th at 7 p.m. Central for the live cast. Thanks for being here, Dan. Hope you had a good time.
Thanks.
Hell yeah, and thank you guys for watching and listening.